Hello, my name's John, and I'm a storyteller. I love stories. I hope you do as well. And I've got lots of wonderful stories to tell you. I've actually produced a website with all these stories on, www.biblestorycards.co.uk. You can see all my stories. I'm also a bit of a painter, and so I paint pictures to help me tell my stories. I hope you enjoy them. Hello, it's John again with another one of my wonderful stories from the Bible. It's a story about Jesus, and it's a story that Jesus told. You know, one of the things that often happened, somebody came to Jesus and asked him a question, and he told a story to kind of tell them the answer. These stories we call parables. And actually, somebody said that parables are earthly stories with heavenly meanings. So let's go to this story, shall we? These two people, well, one of them in particular, came to Jesus and said to him, "Lord, my father's died and he's left an inheritance to my brother instead of me. And he's got all the money and I've got nothing. So will you tell that man, that brother of mine, to share the inheritance with me, to give me some of the money as well?" Well, that seemed to be a fair question, didn't it? And a reasonable thing to ask. But Jesus answered by telling a story. Here it is. There was a farmer, a very clever farmer, a very hard-working farmer. And he was quite a rich man. And one year, at the end of the harvest, there was so much food, so much had grown in his fields, so much corn, so many apples and pears and things in his orchard, that he hadn't any room in his barns to put all these things. So he thought to himself, well, this is what he sort of said to himself, "I know what I'll do. I'll pull down my barns and I'll build bigger barns. And then I will say to myself, you have many goods for many years, so sit back, eat, drink and be merry." And you know, I'm sure his friends thought, "Whoa, he's a good farmer, that one. He's done well this year. I wish I was like him, as rich as him." And everybody complimented him. Everybody said he was a good man. And everybody said, "Well done."
Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Except God. God said to him, "You fool." Why would God call him a fool when he'd been so successful? Well, this is why. I think there were several reasons. This is the first one, of course, that God said to him, "You fool, you think you have got many years to eat all this lovely food you've got stowed in your barns. But I tell you that tonight you will die. Your life will be ended." The man was horrified. But sure enough, that night, he died. And they buried him. And at that point, people were thinking, how sad, hard luck. The man could have enjoyed all his riches, couldn't he, for himself? But I think I know why God called him a fool. Let me give you some suggestions. Here's the first suggestion. He was a fool because he forgot that everything he had, all his riches, all his crops had all come from God. He never ever thought of God. He spent his life enjoying himself instead of being thankful to God. There's one of our hymns which we sometimes sing at the harvest time. It's this one. It goes, all good gifts around us are sent from heaven above. Then thank the Lord, oh thank the Lord for all his love. That's what we should do, always, for everything. This man was a fool because he forgot that. So, when you see a nice meal before you, why not just pause for a minute and say, thank you, God, for this good food. You could do that every day, couldn't you? Anyway, here's another reason why God called him a fool. Did you notice what he said? He said, what can I do? I will pull down my barns and I will build bigger ones, and I will say to myself, eat, drink and be merry. You see, he was so selfish. Not only did he forget that God had given him everything, but he wasn't going to share anything with anybody else. Do you know, I saw a picture in a magazine of an organisation called Cheer Fund. And Cheer Fund is an organisation that sends parcels of food and money and even animals and things like motorbikes and that sort of thing, sends them abroad to people who haven't got much. And this is the picture that I saw, and I thought, well, I'll copy that because that will help me to tell this story. It was really two pictures. It was one picture like a tug of war, and all these people are pulling on like a chain of food, you see. It's bread and corn and things like that. Have you noticed something about these people? They're all great big fat people, aren't they? And they all look happy because they're enjoying all this lovely big chain of food that they've got. After all, they just need to go into Tesco's and they can buy what they like. But then this was the other half of the tug of war chain. It's the same tug of war, but look at all these people. They're all skinny, they're all struggling, and they're all poor. These people are not letting these people get any chance of good things. I think that's what Jesus is trying to tell us in this story, don't you? He's trying to remind us of people like this. You know, you've seen pictures of them on the telly and perhaps in a newspaper. Somebody whose eyes are sticking out because they're so hungry and so thin, and they've got great fat tummies because that's what happens when you don't have any food. And they're longing for somebody to help them. Not like the man who said, I'll keep all this for myself. Jesus told this story in order to encourage us to be generous, to remember where our food comes from, and to give to those people in need. I hope you do that.